Hi, I'm August Keller, and this is my review of MaXXXine. So, MaXXXine has a lot of valuable pieces, but they struggled to really solidify and unite. Its plot parallels these two threads. One's about making it in show business, the other is about a serial killer who primarily targets women. And those two paralleling plot lines, it's social commentary. It's talking about how media exploits women, uses women, chews them up, and spits them out. And the movie uses that as a jumping off point to really look at female sexuality and how it's both objectified and suppressed at the same time. It's hypocritical how those two things are both being pushed on women at once. So that's all very interesting and substantive. But what holds it all back is that the drama is pretty stagnant. So, there are internal conflicts set up. PTSD, obsession are both brewing inside the protagonist, but they don't result in an arc. So there are themes about infamy and control, groupthink, sensationalism, but all of that feels kind of muted because the protagonist isn't moving emotionally. So, and it's okay for a protagonist not to arc if that's saying something in and of itself, but I feel like this movie just kind of doesn't say much at all with the arc or the absence of an arc, and all of it really just kind of feels muddled. The themes aren't interwoven with how the protagonist is feeling, so we as an audience don't feel them as personally. On the positive, though, the script does have pretty defined characters. The dialogue is pretty witty at times. It gets meta. And there's a decent amount of setup and payoff, though I do feel like the mystery reveal is underwhelming. I don't know if that was properly set up or thoroughly set up. But there are still a lot of positives there. The acting is confident. There's a lot of confidence, intensity, layers, motivation. I do feel like the performances are all kind of confined by the material, though. I wouldn't say it's quite one note, but it's almost one note, simply because the script is forcing the acting to be one note. So yeah, overall, I think MaXXXine muddles its attempts at substance. It's got a lot of good ideas, but it just doesn't really bring them home in a clear and concise way. And that's primarily due to the drama, the emotions being kind of confusing. Technically, however, MaXXXine is very aesthetic. It's very heightened in its aesthetic. The imagery is very consistently sleek. There's a lot of angles, framing, colorful lighting, depth. Yeah, it's nice to look at. The editing, I found the momentum to be kind of spotty. Sometimes it gets going, sometimes it feels like it's dragging or stagnating. But the editing is still a positive to me because there's a lot of flashy montages, split screens, intercuts, inserts, like smash inserts, and at least one very interesting action sequence. The sound is a little more subtle, but still very vivid. A lot of smash cuts, like I said, risers. There's a match sound cut where the sound of one shot leads into the sound of a next shot. There's silence, stings, violence, of course, and a lot of key emphasis. Like a character is defined by the sound of his gloves crinkling. It's kind of like a motif. The music has a lot of fitting needle drops, very good at setting the mood. I wouldn't say any of them are like too obvious. They're very 80s, and the 80s is kind of played out at this point, but it does a good job of picking recognizable songs, but not too recognizable. There's a lot of synths and saxophones, but it doesn't feel cheesy. It feels very fitting. It works. The production design, of course, sets the era and also shows like this dichotomy in LA, like high class wealth and a lot of underbelly, grunginess. There's also a lot of symbolic colors. The cast, I would say, is a little lacking in star power. I know cinephiles like myself and horror fans might know and love Mia Goth. And, Kevin Bacon was once a star, but I don't think this has like broad mass appeal that's going to bring people in. But it is very fitting. I mean, Mia Goth, this is her kind of role. She's a great actress, and she's great in these kinds of roles. And there is a good amount of depth. Like I saw a good amount of faces that I recognized, which is always nice. And everyone's skilled, of course. I wouldn't say there's a superstar here. The special effects aren't as much as I was expecting. There isn't necessarily as much violence as you might expect, but there is some. There's prosthetics, makeup, stunts, and bloody gore. And there's actually a head explosion that's very noticeable, very impressive, kind of glorious, even how much they indulge on that. So yeah, that's thumbs up for that. So yeah, overall, I think MaXXXine has vibrant and confident style, but the substance is a little less sure of itself. I mean, it knows what it's trying to do. It just doesn't do it with the effortlessness of the style. Some people are calling it style without substance. I don't think that's fair. There is definitely substance here. It's just not. It just needed some refining. So all that is to say, I wanted to like this movie. I really did even love this movie at times, but I do think it's a little bit less than the sum of its parts. It's a good movie, bordering on great movie, on a great movie, but I struggle to say great because it just kind of feels a little too muddled. But it's a good movie, and I would recommend checking it out if you're interested. If you're not so sure, I would say think about it, because it is a good movie. But if you have to be selective, then unfortunately maybe you can see something I've rated higher than this. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. If you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to like and subscribe. I also have an Instagram linked in the description. I would love support there as well as support here. But at the very least, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.